Okay, it's camping day one, and this is our tent setup. This is the tent we brought with us. It's a Coleman Weathermaster, and we're going to do a little quick walk around here and show you the tent. So there it is. It's the Weathermaster Screen 7. This tent's about 10 years old now, and it's holding up pretty good. The number of times we've used it. It has a nice D door here on this side here. It goes into the main room in the tent, and then it has an attached screen room, which we'll get to here in a second. They're showing the D door and the little archway over the. Okay, and continuing on, here's the screen room portion of the tent. It isn't a fully enclosed. We have another tent that has a fully enclosed screen room, which is better in inclement weather than this one, but this is kind of we call this our summer tent. So coming inside the screen room, we have our little kitchen area here to the right. To the left, this is a folding trash can holder thing I made, and it holds paper towels and for your trash, and it folds up flat. Pretty portable and handy to have. And then yeah, there's the paper towels. And then swinging around over here to the kitchen area, we have this, there's our camp kitchen tote, and we pack a lot of stuff in that. That's everything we need for cooking and prepping food and all that. This table, I actually made extensions for the legs, so the height of it is now the same height you have in your kitchen, at your kitchen counter. I found with it being the highest setting that it came with was just really hurting my back when I was standing there cutting stuff on a cutting board and everything. So I added extension legs to bring it up to counter height, and really loving that. And then this here underneath is it's a canvas folding. It has a wire frame in it, and so it folds up flat. And then I made some nylon straps, and you can see kind of make out the little aluminum brackets where it clips on the table, and it just hangs underneath the table, so that detaches and then folds up flat. And you can put all your dishes and stuff like that, glasses in it. And then the black crate on the floor there, that's a collapsible crate that we use for pantry items. And then coming inside, we've got the kind of all the windows opened up to let a little air in. It was really hot that day, and so here we're showing a little table that I made out of a card table. It used to be square, but I think I'll get to that more here in a second. On the floor is just a real heavy, thick bedspread we use. It's kind of like a carpet in there. And then this is the inside of the D door with the window open. You can see, and then all the ceiling is all screened in the entire tent. And then the rain fly just protects it from rain. So it has really good ventilation in it. That's why it's really good for a summer tent. And then there's the table again, and I made it was a square card table, and I made it actually where it still folds up. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Here's our air conditioner, which I'm so glad we brought that with us, because like I said, it was really hot. And then there's a little door, and I think they call it a cooler access door, and that's where the hose vents out of. I think it's a 7,500 BTU air conditioner. It weighs about 50 pounds, but it's definitely worth it to have. And then here you can see I painted it, but it was a card table, and I cut it and coupled it back together in a rectangular shape, so it's smaller. And then over on the left side, you can see that that's a detachable leg. There's two detachable legs, two fold up normally like it did when it was a card table, and the other two I made it shorter with extension pieces so that it can still fold up flat, and then just made a wooden top for it. And then the bed is a queen size air mattress, and it's pretty much like normal bed height you'd have at home. It's up on these little, these not little, but metal stands that fold up. The legs fold up, and then there's two sections that bolt together, and then each section folds in half. And so it's pretty portable. It's kind of heavy, and it is a little bulky, but you know, for the comfort that it gives you, it's just fantastic having that. Having like a normal height bed inside your tent really makes a difference getting in and out of it in the morning. And yeah, so there's kind of a look at the inside. All the windows are open right now. Okay, and then turning and coming back out through the screen room to the outside. Everything's opened up right now. Ended up zipping everything up pretty much the whole time because of the bug issue we had. But here's showing the tent stakes. I think I talk a little bit more about those later. I put the plastic dip on the heads of the tent stakes so that you can see them real good. And then this is showing the other side, and then the that cooler access door where the AC vent runs out of, and then the bright blue square right here, I added that on. I sewed that in. It's two flaps of a waterproof material with Velcro, and that's just another place where you can run an extension cord through. And then here's showing the other end of it, and the rain fly, and that's pretty much it. That's our tent we stayed in. What we have here? We have a paracord line holder. I made this right before we left on this camping trip we're on right now. I should say this is an absolutely beautiful spot we're at. We camp here a lot. It is very hot today. I think it got up in the low 90s, 92, 93, something like that. But we've got the lagoon right here behind us, and then right over this way on the other side of a little strip of land is the Atlantic Ocean. So we're getting a really nice ocean breeze here, which really helps. And we're in the shade, and the sun's getting ready to, it's starting to set. So I'm going to try to show you a few things before it gets dark. And we start fishing here pretty soon. But anyway, this line holder, I was watching a video just the other day uh, of a guy whose name escapes me right now, but he had something like this, and of course his was store bought, and I made this. But right after I watched the video, I went on Amazon and I found it. It was like $18.99 or something like that, and I forget what they called it, but yeah, it's just a cordage line holder with a built-in line cutter. And the one that I saw on Amazon that this gentleman used had a series of little holes on each side up here for different size cordage to lock in. And so my idea was just to do that with a piece of dense foam. I mean, it'll hold any size line you put on this thing. I've got 50 feet of 550 paracord on here right now. And as you can see, probably have room to put 75 feet, or you could make this any size you want, really, you know, for whatever your intended use is for it. Uh, I made it uh, not out of wood like I was going to originally. Originally, I was going to make this out of wood, but this is actually, I call it PVC lumber. And I'm sure there's a million names for this stuff, but it's plastic basically. But um, you can work it just like wood. Uh, you can sand it, drill it, paint it, you know, work it like you can wood, and it's going to hold up a whole lot longer, you know, because it is plastic. So I made it a little thinner here so I could put a cheap carabiner on it, and yeah, just notched it out. And then I said the line holder I used is a piece of dense foam rubber, and I just drilled a hole and I took a hole punch and cut a plug of that foam out, and then just slipped it in there. I was gonna glue it in, but it's just friction fitted in there, and I don't, you know, I'll glue it if it ever becomes a problem. But for right now, it's working just fine. And then yeah, and on the end here, I have an Allen wrench that just friction fits down in this hole. It's really nice and snug. It's not going to come out, and that's to change the blade out. And the blade is simply a Stanley, a replaceable blade like you use in a retractable utility knife or box cutter knife. Readily available and easy to replace. I've got a whole, I think the box I have holds like 100 blades, and I've had it for years, and I still have quite a few of them. These are 5 millimeter Allen head bolts to hold this on. And, this out. Okay, and then this is just a scrap of aluminum for this plate that goes on here, and there's the blade. And I just mortised this out. I made it I mortised it for the blade where it's a little bit deeper, and to hold the blade right in there, and then this piece lays on top and bolts down to hold it, you know. And it's kind of crude. It's not real good tight fit and all that stuff because I was in a hurry. I knocked this out in about an hour, and it's kind of a prototype like everything I make. But if it works, you know, I'm happy with it, and it does. It does the job. So let me put it back together for you real quick, and I'll. Okay. Like I said, that just fits in there. All right, then you just take your line and boom, it just cuts it right off. And then you just cinch it down in your little thing and good to go. Yeah, it's a handy little line holder with a built-in line cutter and a carabiner, so you can hang it off your pack or whatever you're doing. What's going on over here? Do we have a dolphin out here, or what's going on? Another raccoon. Okay. Yeah, we've been getting some raccoon visitors here. So anyway, yeah, I hope you like a little line cutter or line holder cutter gizmo doohickey thing. Uh, like I said, if you wanted to make one, you could just use any old just pine or any kind of wood you got laying around, and yeah, it was a pretty easy project. All right, let's fire this bad boy up. If you haven't seen my video on making this folding stove, uh, check it out. I appreciate it. So we're going to fire this thing up for the first time and see how well our conversion works. This is our Sterno to wood stove conversion kit. Okay, we have some fat wood shavings, a little piece of cotton. See if we can fire this thing up. Now slide her back in there. That piece of fat wood on there. 3 pieces of bark. This is all live oak. This wood here. Fire loves chaos. Don't really need it right now, but this is my fire bellows I made. And all it is an old antenna, part of an antenna off an old radio. That's another thing I do is restore old tube radios. Haven't done it in a while, but I used a 22 shell casing on the end, kind of mushroomed it over just to protect that sharp edge, you know. But yeah, it's a fire bellows. You can buy them. I made this one out of an antenna. You see it works pretty good. Ready? Okay, we've got some homemade smoked baked beans on here. I smoked these the other day at home and we had some leftovers. So we're heating those up on the little Sterno stove, wood stove. Looking good. Okay, if you haven't seen the video on these clamps I made, go check that out. Don't really need it on this small stove because we don't have a big raging fire here, but works real good at taking it off. Now we're going to throw some hot dogs on. Okay. Yeah, this little stove holds 4 of these big jumbo hot dogs pretty good. I've got a nice bed of charcoal briquettes on here right now because, like I said, we are in a burn ban. We're not supposed to burn wood, but I used wood to get it started, and then I threw some charcoal briquettes on there. So, yeah, dogs are cooking nice. Okay, hot dogs and baked beans for dinner, and they're ready. This is going to be a good dinner.